started a Google Doc where parents could list available services and warnings about other centers that might be doing similar things, because now everyone was paranoid about what might be happening to their kids during therapy. Meanwhile, at the hospital, Dr. Hess scheduled Elijah for another procedure to remove more foam he'd found deeper in the airways during a new scan. The procedure took 3 hours with Dr. Hess carefully extracting foam pieces that had been pushed so far down they'd formed pockets of infection, and when he came out, he showed me a jar with gray foam chunks covered in pus and blood. Elijah's oxygen levels went up slightly after the procedure, but he was still on life support because his body was too weak to breathe on its own, though Dr. Hess said removing the infected tissue might help his lungs start healing faster. 2 days after that, I was in Elijah's room when Gideon called to say they'd arrested Mrs. Wilson that morning on charges of endangering children and tampering with evidence. She'd tried to delete emails and destroy documents even after the preservation order, which added obstruction charges to everything else, and the judge set bail at $50,000 with conditions including staying away from any facility serving minors. Mrs. Wilson posted bail that same day, using her house as collateral, but the news was already spreading through parent networks, and her photo was shared everywhere with warnings to keep her away from kids. Gabriella called that afternoon with the best news I'd gotten since this nightmare started, saying the insurance company approved continued coverage indefinitely while criminal proceedings were active since this was now documented as assault rather than a medical condition. They were also preparing a massive lawsuit against the center's insurance company to recover costs, and Gabriella said they'd probably be going after Mrs. Wilson personally too, since she'd acted outside her professional capacity by ordering staff to harm children. 2 weeks crawled by with me basically living in that ICU room, and I was talking to Elijah about everything and nothing when I felt it. His fingers squeezing mine just barely, but it was there. The nurse rushed over when I yelled and confirmed his reflexes were coming back, though she kept saying stuff about not getting too hopeful yet, which I ignored completely. That same afternoon, Gideon called saying Miss Lexi took a plea deal for lesser charges if she'd testify, and she'd already handed over emails where Mrs. Wilson literally wrote things like, meet behavior reduction quotas or find another job, which made me want to throw my phone. The lawyer handling her case sent copies to our attorney who said this was exactly what we needed for the lawsuit, especially the part where Wilson threatened to fire anyone who didn't get results fast enough. Meanwhile, Ivy's articles were blowing up online, and the state announced they were reviewing every single autism center in the region after she found similar complaints at 3 other places nobody had connected before. The review board sent inspectors everywhere, and parents were posting photos of them showing up unannounced at centers, clipboards out, asking kids questions, which should have been happening all along. 4 days after that first squeeze, the doctors moved Elijah to a regular room with all these monitors, but at least he was breathing without the ventilator, even though he still couldn't talk or swallow anything. I spent hours just watching him breathe on his own, counting each breath like it was a miracle, which I guess it was considering what those monsters did to him. The feeding tube looked awful, but the nurses taught me how to use it and clean around it while Elijah just watched me with these big eyes that broke my heart every time. Our lawyer filed the class action that week with 23 families signed on, going after both the center and their insurance company for not investigating previous complaints that parents had apparently been filing for months. The insurance company